Hello everyone, this is Pranay, and today our exercise is triggers. Our exercise is based on triggers. So we have few triggers that we have to create. So our first trigger is to create a simple trigger that does not allow delete operations on the supplier table, and we'll see the subsequent questions later. So we'll try this trigger first. Let me just okay. So this is our let me clean the screen. Okay, it's clean. So let's see our first trigger. So here I have created the trigger, create or replace trigger 1 before delete on supplier for each row. If deleting, then raise an application error, deletion is not enabled. Let's see whether this trigger works or not. So I'll just copy this trigger and I'll just paste it here, and the trigger is created as you can see here. Now I'll try to delete a value from the supplier table, and let's see whether this trigger initiates or not, or triggers or not. Now as you can see, the trigger was enabled, and here it is showing the statement ORA 20101, that is as per our error code, and it shows that deletion is not enabled. So our first trigger was successfully completed. Let us go to the second one. Create a trigger that raises a user-defined error message that does not allow updating the order table. So create or replace trigger 2 before update on order 1 for each row. Begin if inserting or updating, then raise an application error or so and so. Okay, so let us see. So create, I'm just copying this part. Yeah, so as I can see, that trigger has been created. Let's try to update this table. So if I try to update this table, it shows me error message, updation is not allowed. So our trigger worked. Now I'll disable this trigger for our future triggers that we're going to create. So alter trigger 2 disable. So I'm going to disable this trigger because we're going to update the order table in our future triggers. Okay, so that's why I have disabled it. Now our third question was to check the integrity policy, the referential integrity policy. So actually in this case, the order ID is the primary key in the order table, and the order ID is also foreign key in the order quantity table, as in it's referencing the order ID from the order 1 table. So here before deletion it is saying to update the order ID as null. Okay, so whether this case is possible or not, let us see. Sorry, actually the power went out. So let's continue with our trigger. Now in this case the trigger is also created. Okay, let's see whether this thing works out or not. I'll again try to update I'll try to delete this trigger. Okay, I'll try to delete the order 1 table, and let's see whether it works out or not. So I'll delete order 1 where order ID is equal to, let's say, 108. Okay, let's see what does it say. Oh, it says it deleted. So I think order 108 is not there in order quantity table. Let us see what is there in the order quantity table, and we'll try to delete that. Then we can see our referential integrity policy. So what is there in order quantity table, we'll try to delete that. So actually there's 106 is there, so we'll try to delete 106 and we might get a error. So as you can see, it cannot update system.order.quantity or order ID to null. As you can see, this order ID is referenced from the order table. That's why you cannot delete it. So that's a third trigger. Now we'll see the fourth trigger. Write a trigger to update the order table whenever the customer ID is updated in the customer table. So whenever the customer ID is updated in the customer table, we'll try to delete that. Okay. So so we'll create a trigger for that. Let's create a trigger. A trigger is created, and let's try to update the customer ID of this as 5, let's say. We have to insert in the customer table, right? So let us update the customer table. So let us update the customer table. Update customer, set customer ID equal to 5, where customer name, there's power problems there, let us wait for some time. I'm sorry for pausing the video. So let's continue. So as you can see, this is the order table, the previous order table, and this will get updated whenever the customer ID gets updated in the customer table. So we'll update the customer whose name is John Doe with customer ID as 10. Now it is set as 6. So let us do that. Okay, actually there's a 10 is already present, so let's change it to 20 and let's do it again. Now it is updated. Okay, since it is updated in the customer table, it will be updated in the order table too. So let's see the order table. So select star from order 1. Now you can see it is updated in the order table. So our trigger number 4 also worked. Let's see our fifth trigger. What is the fifth trigger? Write a trigger to update the order quantity of the order line table if inserted supplied table is less than the order quantity. In this case, our question was changed. The new question says that you have to create a customer audit table. In that, we have to insert a new value. Okay, based on whatever we have inserted in the customer table. Okay, so we have a customer table. I'm inserting some new value. So before that, I have to create this trigger. So I'll create this trigger. Now I've created this trigger. The trigger is created, as you can see. Now I'll show you the customer table. I'll show you the customer audit table. So what is there in the audit table? Select star from customer audit. Now as you can see, there is CID is Devon, Cook and Tuscan. Okay, so let me insert some values in the customer table. In this case, I'm inserting 15. The name is, for example, let us change this to Pranay, and the city to, for example, since I'm in Coimbatore, I'll put Coimbatore. Okay, now I'll insert these values. This value is inserted. So this will also reflect back in the customer audit table. Let us see that. And as you can see, it is inserted in customer audit table. Now our sixth question is, Okay, now our sixth question is to create when inserting the new supply date, it should not be more than the system date. So let's create a trigger for that and insert this. And trigger is created. Let's try to insert some values. So I have to check this trigger. Now the date here is 13 November 2017, which is actually very far from now. Let's try to insert that value. Let's see our trigger will work or not. Now as you can see, the trigger works. Supply date is after today. That is, it is really after a long after today. So as you can see, all of our triggers worked. I hope you have enjoyed this video and learned something from it. Thank you and have a nice day.